All right, is your trim motor starting to rust out? Is it broken? This one still works, but as you can see, it's breaking down substantially, and I don't want to get caught in a position where I'm out fishing, about to go out fishing, and I can no longer use it. So we're going to go through how to replace it. All right, trim your motor up, lock it in place. Oh, that's stiff. Don't use this for traveling. It's not a transom saver. Okay, if you're ordering a new part for this, there's a lot of places online. It'll typically cost you between $100 and $200. It's a whole assembly, the reservoir and the pump itself. Now, you look at that part number on there. That part number is just literally for the label itself. It's not for anything else. So if you order that part number, you will get one of those labels. Get your wrench on there. And I need to do this with two hands, so I'll have to turn it off for a second. But when you crack it, have a rag or something over it, just in case it pressures up on you. And once you get it cracked and relieved a little bit, you should be able to do the rest by hand. Give it a couple of wiggles before you pull it out, again, just to make sure it's not pressurized. And have a handy dandy cup. Not much in it. Looks like ATF. It smells a little bit like it, but I don't think it is. And again, do not do that unless you have that jack extended all the way up. And of course, locked in position. All right, now you're going to have to remove, on this particular model of it's 60 horse Mercury, that little sensor right there is going to be your trim and tilt sensor. That little bottom dial right there, that's what indicates the position your motor's in. And if you have to replace this, now's the perfect time to do it. All right, started to get it loose. What I did, got this little cat's paw. You can use a screwdriver or whatever. Do not touch that shaft at any cost. You don't want to put a nick, a scratch, or anything on it. If you do, then you have to replace that assembly. The whole assembly itself is going to cost you about $400 or $500 from what I've seen online. But what I had to do is kind of get in there and off the side and give it a little wiggle as I was cycling the motor up and down a little bit. Just tiny little movements on the trim and tilt. And there you go. You'll find the sweet spot for it, and it'll pretty much pop right out. And I think a lot of people that have problems is because there's so much force put on it that it's kind of binding it up a little bit. But again, just kind of wiggling the motor up and down a little bit really made the difference. Popped right out. All right, now we're going to drift that pin out, and it's coming out really easy. I kind of did it for a second to see if it would go before I started recording. And I'm just using a piece of shear stock as a drift. I'm not going to tell you what kind of tools to use or what sizes, because everybody kind of does their own thing. Different motors act differently, but it's already coming out really easily. There we go. Came up the other side. All right, you take out your drift pin, let that go forward gently, and we're going to attempt to, you might lose a little more fluid as well, but you've got these 4 screws that are holding this assembly in place. So we're going to try to get behind and get those out. And this negates having to pull the whole assembly out. All right, if you don't have a mechanic's mirror or a dental mirror, you can just use your camera. There we go. Oh, this is like an old arcade game. All right, the back nuts are out. And when you lift it, you'll get another blast of hydraulic fluid. All right, cowling's off. And these are the 2 wires. This is the part that actually goes to the motor itself, going down that way. And then this goes to the control portion of it. So we'll disconnect these real quick. They just unplug pretty easily. And then now we're going to pull from the other side and try to get these out. All right, having a hard time pulling the wires out of there. So I think there's 7 little bolts. Okay, so it'll be a little easier now to see what's going on. I think it's just a regular grommet. So I'll jack with that and get it out of there. Okay, I finally got it to this point. It was a nightmare because there's a zip tie that holds your sensor cable and this, and it's one of those ones that it's kind of like a ratcheted thing, and it goes into the body itself. So I had to use needle nose pliers, get down there and get that out. And what a nightmare. Had I known, I probably just would have cut this on the other side, fed it through as best I could, cut the other piece, and then fished the new one through. But yeah, looks like it's going good now. And having the side off, the side cover actually did help quite a bit by allowing me to access that a lot easier. I ended up just cutting the nubbins off the end so it would pull through that grommet easier. It's garbage anyway. Now, get your sensor out of the way, which I do need to replace. Now, when you lift this up, be careful. You don't want to damage anything underneath, so lift it straight up and away. All right, that little pin is still in there. See this little guy right up top here? That comes in and out, and your new one will have one in there, a spare, but I don't know if it's not the perfect length, not the exact length, I'll just keep using that one. All right, wiped everything down in here as best I could. I didn't touch the actual mechanism itself. There's no need to do that. It's clean. I don't want to introduce any kind of dirt or anything to it. We've got the new one ready to go. There's a little O-ring that goes around a fitted O-ring gasket, and I'm going to slide that on ever so careful, and I have to make sure that that little hex mates up with that inside there. So it's going to be just a gentle put down. Might have to twist a little bit, but we'll make it work. All right, so I've got it sitting on there, but it's not screwed down yet. It took a few tries. You got to be pretty ginger with it, but I don't know if you can tell or not. I don't know if I'll be able to get video, but if you look inside, once you kind of get it lined up and on there, you can get visual confirmation that that little drive shaft, that little hex key is sitting where it should be, because it could be off a little bit. Now, the first couple tries to get it on there, it didn't want to sit just right. It wasn't lined up, so what I had to do is just touch those two leads to a 12-volt battery just to get it to rotate a little bit. First time, again, it wasn't the right spot. Did it the second time. Just a little heads up, it's got a lot of torque on it. So when you put power to it, it wants to throw itself out of your hands. So hang on to it tight. Just give it a little tap. I mean, however much it moves, it's either going to fit or it's not. And then on the third try, it just slid on there perfectly. So I'm going to mount those bolts back on, the O-rings in place. We're going to mount everything back up and fill it with fluid. Hopefully it works. I guess we got to rerun these wires. That's the worst part of the whole thing. We'll get to it. So to get the little bolts in the back, we're going to kind of reverse the procedure, but of course gravity's going to work opposed to us. So this little monstrosity I made, it's actually just a T30 Torx head that fits in there perfect. It's not made for it, but it works. I don't recommend it necessarily, but what I've done is just put some painter's tape around the edge of it to the bit. That'll hold it in place, and then once it's on there secured, it'll just break loose. And then I had to put a little bit of marine grease on there to hold those washers in place, otherwise they're just going to slide off when I fish this down there. Okay, I got that with the first try, which is absolutely ridiculous, but just hand snugged it, do the other one, and then just going to go corner to corner and tighten them up. All right, that part went unreasonably easy. Don't know why, but it did. So we've got that. We're going to remount the shaft on the hydraulic ram. We're going to put those back in. All right, I hit that pin with some marine grease. Went in easy peasy. All I did was just grab the bottom of the motor and give it a wiggle. So that slid right in perfectly. Now we have to, there's that little retaining pin, almost like a detent pin, but I don't know what it's called. There's a retaining pin that you saw us take out earlier. Cool thing is, there's a slot on this pin so we can turn it until we line up those holes. And I would just say put a punch in there first as you do it. That way you hold the punch, you turn that, you get it lined up, and then you put your pin in. All right, little life hack for you. See the orientation of the slot? That is where the hole is that your pin's going to go into. So when that's lined up, more or less at that hole, again, I just use a small taper punch, kind of wiggled everything, fit right in there perfectly. That tells you you're on the mark. All right, top pin's all in place. I'm not gonna put anything else together yet. I'm gonna add some oil in here, close it, and I'm gonna cycle it, make sure it works before I run those wires, just in case something doesn't work. All right, I picked up some power trim and steering fluid. The problem is, it's more like a conventional hydraulic fluid than what was in there. I'm starting to think more and more that it might be ATF that was in there, just regular automatic transmission fluid. So what I'm gonna do is I'm still going to put this in here, and I'm going to cycle it a bunch of times, and I'm going to drain it and cycle, drain it, cycle, and try to displace everything that's in there, and just eventually have all of this in there. Turkey baster needle works way better than a funnel. All right, I filled it up till it just starts dribbling out. Put the new cap in. and everything's just kind of cheap plastic with cheap O-rings. You don't have to over tighten it or anything. But now we're going to cycle this. I'm just going to take a battery, hook it up to the leads, and cycle it up and down and see if we're good to go. So I just got a little test battery here, and make sure you don't pinch any cables while you're doing it. And like I say, I'm going to cycle it up and down a bunch of times. And just a little word of caution. I don't like telling people what to do. Don't trust this. Don't trust it for anything until you've had it going for a while. Don't put your body underneath it, especially at this stage. You shouldn't at any time unless it's like securely blocked or something. I'm going to start running these wires through. Make sure it kind of goes the right way. All right, when you're feeding these back through, you're going to have to do one at a time. Don't try to jam them through both at the same time. And then use the second wire here and kind of feed them in at the same time. It sort of helps it. And then once it's in, it's a son of a gun to get back out, and then do the same thing with the second one. All right, I've got everything more or less put back together. Still have to use a couple zip ties. Remember, when you cut zip ties, cut them at an angle and leave a real sharp 45. I'm just kidding. Believe it or not, this was the most difficult part of the process, was actually just fishing these wires. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was just, you need tiny little hands. But other than that, the rest of it was super easy to do. Got it all connected, zip tied, stuck back in there, cycled it, and it works fantastic.